Hello, good morning, everyone. Yes, welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Eitayo, and I'm I'm excited to be here this morning. And it's good to be here. I'm streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, to West Africa, to Africa, and the entire world. And I believe that it's an opportunity for us to, you know, rub minds together as we start the show together. On the Good Morning Education Show, we have a lot of things that we experience. We have lots of fun, we have lots of excitement, we have experiences that we always are excited to share with you. We come your way Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time. And of course, Saturday and Sunday, we have what we call our weekend special. And it is 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. West African time on Saturdays and 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Um, West African time on Sundays. The Good Morning Education Show is designed to uplift you, to share with you, things that happen within the knowledge space, within the education space, and around the world of education as well. We try as much as possible to ensure that it's a conversational way of getting ourselves to learn together, because ultimately our goal is that we share together, we learn together, and we also get to grow together. And today will not be an exception. We have an interesting topic that we're going to be having today. But on the show, we will also spend some time to look at our headlines. Our headlines are very important, and that's what we're going to be doing on the show. Our headline this time around is going to be focused on delivering value at an astronomical level. We will be looking at some of the key things that are happening within the space of education. Yes, I'm sure most of you um, would have heard some of the things making the news, but then we'll still try as much as possible to get you updated and also to share the going. So we're going to start with this first headline, and the first headline is coming from UNICEF. UNICEF is in the news. UNICEF um, says 4.16 million girls, women, at risk of genital mutilation. 4.16 million. That's four. Uh, yeah, 4 million, probably 160,000, if I believe I'm correct. Uh, is the statistics. I'm sure you all will be wondering why this is so. Well, it's more of still the campaign against this practice in some areas and part of the world that tends to put people more into bondage and health issues. And we hope that these figures will raise that consciousness and responsiveness by our authorities and well-meaning individuals and the development community to race towards, making a change happen. Yes, I believe so. Making a change happen. The second headline we have now is rapper Soldier Boy makes donation to Sokoto orphanages and schools. And that's a very good one. Getting to have the people within the entertainment world, also thinking of giving back and also making impact. I can easily tell you that sometimes you get to hear people complain about the show of wealth by those in the media and entertainment industry, and it looks as if it's just a personal acquisition. Nobody's thinking of anyone else. But um, well done to the rapper. We do hope that many more people would take this initiative as something to actually explore. Now we're going straight to another headline, and this time around we're talking about ASU. So in the headline, we're talking about ASU. ASU gives update on planned nationwide strike. Um, if you've been following us on the show, you would hear us talk about a lot on the on the different headlines that um, we've had to see ASU feature in. It's sad that the university system or the tertiary institution seems to be so much in the news for challenging and difficult and sometimes unpalatable reasons. Um, the world is moving past a lot of things, and I feel that our headlines coming from issues around this kind of um, platforms should actually have evolved. Having ASU strike, contending with ASU strike, all these things. I believe that they really, 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 really shouldn't be things we dealing with at this time of the year, time in the century. Anyways, so let's move on to the next headline. And the next headline is coming from Jam, and it says here UTME announces new code for registration and introduces WhatsApp platform. It's good to see that we have the association, trying to leverage on technology, and that's very important because you can easily see that from time to time they are taking steps towards ensuring that they're integrating technology in their practices, in their activities, and all. And I think that this is not out of place. This is something worthy of emulation. This is something noteworthy, and I believe that this is going to, springboard a lot of people into, you know, seeing the fact that if it's at the education at the exam phase that you are meeting with, all this, then everybody really has no excuse, and jam can actually lead the way for others to follow. Then we have another headline, and this headline is talking about ASU, right? It says ASU advocates for free education. So initially, ASU was in the news for their planned strike, but now it says ASU advocates free education from primary level to tertiary level. Interesting one there. Primary to tertiary level. ASU advocates for that. So we hope that they also can advocate for non-disruption of the academic calendar. Eco Disco launches Energy Club in Lagos schools. Eco Disco launches Energy Club in Lagos schools. This is very important. Very important. We have Eco Disco launching Energy Club in Lagos schools. I think that this is something that we all should appreciate and applaud one way or the other. You know, it's very important that that happens. Okay. Um, that's for the headline. Um, that's for the headline. So we have our conversation today on mental and physical health. And there are certain topics that you can never have enough. You can never have enough. You will always, always, always need to say something, have to say something about it from time to time. And this is one of those topics where we talk about, a lot of people are yet to comprehend or come to terms with the reality of the challenge that mental health brings, and for some people, it's important for them, to for some people it's important for them not just to understand it, but for them to appreciate it, you know, appreciate the fact that mental health is important, as much as we're talking about our physical health, and the two really go together. You know, they go together in terms of demanding need for attention and a lot of things. So for me, I think that's a very good way to start. Mental health is a bit of it's a bit of, how do you put it now? Mental health is a bit of a new culture centric approach for people to begin to think about their relational being, that's their well-being in terms of mental well-being. It's very, very important that these are people who understand what mental health is. And for educators out there, we need to talk about it because it's not something that we should shy away from. You know, I remember growing up, even the use of the word mental sometimes, the use of the word mental sometimes limits and affects people. When we say mental health, or not even mental health, but we say mental, because it has to do with the mind and the brain. It has to do with some things that are not necessarily the norm as you would see it. People begin to treat things like that with stigma. It's almost like, oh, it's going mental. It means synonymously this person is mad. And that's not really fair. you know. And the common definition for people is that mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. In other words, if you look at it, it's not one-sided. The mental health that we're talking about includes our emotional well-being. Our emotional well-being. There are many times that we don't feel emotionally well. We don't feel emotionally right. We are not feeling happy. We are not feeling connected. That's the issue around mental health. And that mental health, as it were, you know, it's telling us that we need to pay attention to the emotional side of things, our relationships, and our reaction, our disposition to certain things. We need to pay attention to them. And of course, emotional and psychological. This is not just emotional, but psychological. Your mind is a major element when it comes to your well-being mentally, and then your social well-being. So automatically it means that we begin to see some things, and begin to see some things are going wrong when even individuals are not taking care of these three aspects. They're not taking care of their emotions, they're not taking care of their psychology or the psyche, they're not taking care of their social well-being. It affects how we think, it affects how we feel, it affects how we act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. Mental health is so important. So important. And this is really why we need to talk about mental and physical health, because we hear so many times that people get frustrated about work, about life, and some cases where you trace it well, you can link it to the issue around mental health, mental wellness, mental being, you know. And for the purpose of today's show, it would be nice for us to talk about this in terms of the types of mental health. So I'm going to share with you some types of mental health. But then We also need to drill down, you know, to the grouping of the mental disorder, because once you're able to know what something is not, or you're able to identify what it is not, it also helps you to be able to know what it is. So we have so many mental disorders. And when we say disorder, we're saying that something that is not necessarily in order. We have mood disorders such as depression, sometimes bipolar disorder. And in some cases, a caveat is that we need, as individuals, as educators, as professionals, to learn how to sometimes subject these things to science. It's not good when we label and stereotype and we cast aspersion. No information, no assessments been done. Some things cannot just be said just like that. So these mood disorders sometimes emanate from the issue of depression and bipolar disorder. We have anxiety disorder. We have personality disorder, you know, and all those things. Anxiety disorder, of course, someone who just gets too worrisome, anxious about every little thing. You know, there's a cockroach in the cupboard, there's this, there's that. That person ends up experiencing an atmosphere of fear and limitation. And then there's the personality disorder. Oh, sometimes, I recall we're talking to some people, and we're talking about a movie where one of the characters in that movie had personality disorder, double personality. I'm sure we can go on and on, we'll get examples. That's a disorder, and it's in your mental health issue. you know Sometimes it might even be psychotic disorder. Some people, we call them schizophrenic. They have schizophrenia, and it's because such people are now begin to get into a delusion where they begin to act on a level of extreme nature. We have eating disorder. Some people, they are not happy about the weather, relationship issue, result issue, balance sheet issue, cash flow issue, and they resort to eating, and they begin to eat anyhow. For some people, eating is their getaway, it's their safe haven, and that begins to create what you call eating disorder, eating at any time, odd hours, and all that. Then we have trauma related disorder, such as post traumatic stress disorder. So this trauma related disorder, there are many people that go through trauma based on the activity and the events of life. For example, women that put to bed, they get delivered of children, and they say that sometimes there's that post delivery, you call it post traumatic stress. There's the delivery stress that has actually accumulated, or better still, has triggered a chain reaction in their emotions and well-being, because everybody used to have attention on them. All of a sudden the attention is on the baby. All of a sudden everybody is thinking about the baby over them. There's some level of post-traumatic stress, the loss of a loved one, the loss of investment, the loss of money. All these are many elements to look into. And then we have what you call substance abuse disorder. Substance abuse disorder. Now, of course, this is very popular amongst the youth, but it's a common thing. Substance abuse. Very, very, very unfortunate. But you begin to see people abuse things. To say something is abuse is against the use of that thing. So there are things we are not to ingest, or their quantity we are not to ingest. Once we begin to do the things we shouldn't do, ingest the things we shouldn't ingest, we're already beginning to tilt towards substance abuse, right? But there are some questions that I've actually asked before. And for some of us, we might be having those questions. And to those who will catch the replay, these questions might also be in your mind. What causes poor mental health? Well, so many factors, but overall factor is, look at the definition I gave again, and you realize that a lot of people, an imbalance or an absence of a good social life, psychological being, and emotional development will lead to poor health mentally. So some people also believe that abuse, children who were abused from childhood, that can also affect, you know, and cause poor mental health. So many. I've traveled to some locations where I got to speak to a group of, educators and a group of students, and a lot of them had to come to tell me, when we had question and answer or private one-to-one session, and in the area of, oh, counsel this person, counsel that person, and sometimes you begin to see why some people have difficulties in their in their academic pursuits. Some people have some issues around behavior, and you find out as a result of this poor mental health, the causes. And childhood abuse is one thing. Some people have a very bad childhood experience. It's full of abuse. Then there's trauma, there's neglect. Neglect is a key thing too that affects a lot of people, and we must be careful. In the world of today, we seem to be a bit very, very, very deep into being busy. Parents are busy, friends are busy, everyone is busy, the world is rushing on, and we are not spending time with people that matter. So these things can cause a lot of poor mental health. Neglect is another. Neglect, social isolation, or loneliness, when you are not, when it seems like you're ostracized, banned from connecting with people, experiencing discrimination, and of course stigma, of course racism, and all these unconscious bias can actually be ways where we have people, you know, showing that they have poor mental health. And these are triggers and signals that we must pay attention to. I hope this is making sense to everyone. So, what are the warnings or the warning signs of mental illness? I think long lasting sadness or irritability, extremely high or low moods, excessive fear, worry, or anxiety, social withdrawal, dramatic changes in eating to sleeping habits. When we begin to ask ourselves, or when we begin to see some things happening, we will realize that all of us that are able to pay attention, you begin to see some signs that tell you that something is ahead, something is about to happen, or something is already happening. It's very important to be able to identify that excessive worry, excessive anxiety, excessive fear, all these things lead to low and poor mental health. Very important. Now, so that we don't sound like prophets of doom, it, anyone experiencing mental health can easily come out of it. And when I say easily, with the help of professionals. Sometimes the treatment, medication, psychotherapy, depending on the disease and its severity. Most of the time, the mental illness might not be cured, as you would say, but they are effectively treated to minimize the symptom and to allow the individual function in work or school environment. So this is also something that is very important for a vibrant workforce, important for a vibrant team, important for a vibrant culture. These are things that I feel that we need to be honest about and have honest conversation, on this issue. If you're just joining us, I'd like to welcome you. Good morning, education show. All right. So thank you all for joining. This is the Good Morning Education Show. And today we're talking about mental and physical wellness. Excuse me, mental and physical wellness. Mental and physical wellness. If you can chat with us, please do let us know if you have questions, send in your comments and contribution. Mental and physical wellness. All right, so we don't have questions yet, so we move on. Now, the obvious question I would love to ask is this: since we've been able to define mental health and we have been able to show and identify the difference, so why are we talking about the physical and mental? Do they at any point meet? Well, the answer is yes. When you look at it, just as much as you know you cannot separate certain things away from your body, they are part of your body. You know, there are things that we need to address and also realize. So, mental health can actually affect every part of our body. Every part of our body can affect everything. Can affect our capacity to even deliver things we have knowledge of, things we have mastery of, things that we have competence and capacity for. That is how bad this can happen to anyone. So your mental and physical, in fact, I would say that your physical wellness is tied to the degree of mental wellness. It's almost like so that you know what, if you're going to be well physically, you better make plans to have your mental health in check. So this is very important, you know. And yes, we might be talking about this, but I want you to take note of it. You know, they actually affect each other. Something goes wrong with you mentally or through your mental health process, you find out that it's going to affect you physically. You would probably have a disposition that is different. It could affect your attitude of work. It can affect so many other things. So many other things. In fact, you could begin to feel like a shadow. Well, I hope, you know, this is really making sense to someone. No, I really do hope it's making sense to someone. So that's what we're about. Excuse me. Welcome, Olushola Lumide.
Yes, good morning, Rotimi. Sorry for joining late. Yes, good morning to our audience out there. Nice to
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I was actually having a cough. Okay, so we're talking about mental and physical wellness. And I talked about the definition, the warnings, the signs, and the types. And I know that this is an area that you are heavily vested in and excited about. Could you please, you know, take us further in the journey of mental and physical wellness? Hello, Lusha Olumide. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Oh dear, I think his network threw him out. We hope he joins us back so that we can actually address further the issues of mental and physical wellness. Okay, so while we wait for him, we'll take a step further into the topic. Um, And maybe I need to even, dwell more on that. That people need to take this seriously. I had a conversation with a client and a friend on Sunday, and the person was sharing with me how, what you can be reading about can actually affect you, and that's very instructive. When you look at that and you look at what people go through, it might be something you've seen in the pages of newspaper, online community, and all that. But then when people begin to feel it, it's quite different from when they read about it. So, take for example, you cannot totally know the depth of depression until you feel depressed. So, let me share with you some of the things that mental health actually, or better still, mental illness, it affects everyone and it affects anyone. Um, it can affect your income. It can affect your social status. It can affect your spirituality. Some people don't even know that sometimes you get to a point you question the existence of God, question a lot of things. And that's because mental illness is affecting that person. Hello, welcome back, Olumide.
Yes, thank you, Rotimi. Sorry, it was a network. Yes, good morning to our tribe members out there. Yes, so we're talking about mental and physical this morning. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Aha, now you can't really separate the two. At, only that at times you may be physically down and not mentally down. But when you are mentally down, you surely be physically down. Yes, the way our body is wired, and when there is emotional trouble, difficulties, hurt, setback, bereavement, it has a way of affecting our body. Of course, because the mind is being affected, it has a way of affecting our body. So we have to really take care of our mental health, our mental wellness, mental soundness, in order to be physically okay. And there are certain ailments that results from mental health issues or emotional troubles. At times, you look at illness like high blood pressure. At times, you discover it came as a result of emotional trauma or difficulties or challenges and the inability to cope with such challenges, inability to manage crisis properly, our inability to bounce back when something unexpected happens can snowball into high BP, of course, can lead to problems like insomnia, that is sleeplessness. And of course, that can bring headache and all that. So, when there is sorrow in the mind, it has a way of affecting our physical health. So, we need to really take care of our mental wellness because it's every area of our life. So, my submission to our listener out there this morning is that look inward. Be sure you are emotionally sound, you are emotionally okay. Be sure of your emotional wellness so that it doesn't translate into physical sickness and compounds one's problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's a beautiful introduction and submission. And honestly, let me take the issue of the statement you made on sadness. Sometimes you find out that's common to all. A lot of things affect people and happen to people. And it's tough to be able to say you won't feel sad. How can people effectively work in such a way that they don't become a victim of their own emotions to the point where they're not trapped?
Uh, Thank you very much. This is life, and life happens. At times we call it an act of God. Like you have said, you can't go through life and not be sad at one point or the other. However, it may not really the sadness that escalates one's problems, but the way you manage the sadness. And normally, I put it this way: like life is never a linear graph. There will be ups, there will be down. So as you expect the best, prepare for the worst, so that life wouldn't jolt you. You are better get set that failure is part of success. And in a bid to achieve success in life, we are going to face one or two potholes, one or two flat tires on the road. But if you have that optimism and if you have that mental capability and strength, you know, of course, it's not palatable, but you are able to jump out of it quickly. You understand me? Like some other people who are not people don't see failure as part of life. When anyone happens, it breaks them down completely.
Hello?
But hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can.
Aha. The definition will give our problem, will determine whether that problem will be a stumbling block or a stepping stone. Somebody defines failure as, oh, the worst has happened. How can I fail? My world has calmed down. This is unimaginable. I am ruined. I am doomed. Based on that definition, it begins to affect the chemical reactions of the body. And that is emotional sickness begins. Somebody else defines failure as an opportunity to do it again and do it better. The same also affects the chemical reaction and changes in the body. And that is optimism, mental strength, ability to go again and get it done better. So prepare mind preparation, mind fortification matters a lot when things like this are about to happen. You have not seen it happen, but just expect it to happen. So I think when we have that mind preparation and fortification, we're not going to be overwhelmed with our sadness. Thank you.
Mind preparation, mind fortification. Can you kind of, open us up to that mind preparation, the outlook of that mind fortification?
Thank you very much. When it comes to mind preparation, mind preparation is expecting the unexpected. You have written an exam, you are waiting for the results. You've gone for an interview, you are expecting the result. You are putting for a fellowship or a scholarship, you are expecting the result. Even though you are giving your best, can you please give a margin of say 10% that it may not go my way? Once you have prepared your mind that way, yes, so that the result doesn't just come suddenly, already you're expectant. If it doesn't go my way, what else can I do? Then when it comes to any endeavor in life, there is general success, there is specific success. Now, general success is that the thing goes your way, you are happy and excited. Fine. Now, specific success is going through the process and learning in the process. Eventually, that thing may not go your way, but you have learned while doing that thing. I've written an exam. I've read 10 chapters of the textbook. Can I celebrate myself that now I know additional 10 topics? I'm expecting to score A5, and at the end of the day, I have C3. I'm not happy. I wanted 70, but I got 55. It's still a form of failure. But why I am unhappy for scoring 55, can I celebrate and be happy for knowing additional 10 topics? So that is mind preparation. Now, yes, mind fortification is being armed with the tools needed to make your heart strong. And of course, it doesn't happen overnight. It is often being said that experience is the best teacher. Go and look at great counselors today. people doing great expect. You know, veterans are never made in the bedroom. Veterans are made on the war front.
Yeah.
You don't sit down, rocking your bed, rocking your chair, and somebody will come and give you tag, or come and give you a prize, or come and celebrate you that now you have become veteran for sleeping on your bed. It's never done anywhere in the world.
I
But
thought
when
you had
somebody
been
has
a
gone
sleep
to,
veteran.
I said you are a sleep veteran. Yes, thank you very much. But when you are going to the war front, and you know, coming back as a veteran, you're going to come back with some
Yeah,
mark and odds. There's going to be some scar in your body.
exactly.
However, the tougher the battle, the sweeter the victory.
Mm.
Yes, go and check it anywhere. When your battles are small, you also have small victories. But when your battles are great, when you surmount and overcome, so great will be your victory. But people don't really see that thing. And some, you know, I look at young people in this age and time. Somebody asks why I can add F9 in maths and English. You want to go and commit suicide. It's like, who born you? What have you seen? How many times have you written WAEC? Of course, everybody doesn't have to fail. But the point we are saying is this. Do you know one thing is this? Even God will not just carry you on the elevator. God allows us to pass through the staircase to strengthen the muscles on our legs.
Mm.
If you can be patient, even God specializes in turning mess to messages, provided you can
Yeah.
be patient. Thank you very much.
That what you said is actually the real truth. Because obviously it means that we need to also take care of our personal philosophy about life. Because a lot of people out there, have been taught and trained in such a way where if things don't work, it means if not that things don't work, if things delay, it means they've considered delay to be faulty, failure, and mess up. I don't know whether you get what I'm trying to say. Hello, Olushola, can you hear me? Hello,
You.
can you hear me? Hello, Olushola. Hello. Hello. Hello, can you hear me, sir? Wow. Well, if you're just joining us, this is the Good Morning Education Show. We've been having a conversation on mental and physical wellness, and it's been an interesting one. Especially the last few moments we're talking about mind fortification and mind preparation. That's very important. A lot of times, some of the things that we experience tend to strengthen us, and some people are not aware about that. And I believe that listening to what we've talked about, and if you watch the replay today, again, you'll realize that there might be need for people to just say, it's a wake up call to change their philosophy about life, because if you're going to really, really, really look at it, delay does not necessarily mean failure. Olushola, that's what I was trying to ask. Because
Yes.
from what you said, some people are so quick to consider any form of delay to be that this thing. So if it didn't happen in the first minute, it can't happen again. They just give it up, throw it away, pack it into.
Yeah.
And people do this also in their profession. I've seen a lot of people who do not demonstrate any form of staying power. I don't know if you want to touch on that a bit.
Yes. Thank you very much. You discover that staying power is like the bedrock of consistency. Let's use at the case of Senegal. I just won the AFCON. Cisse, I learned this is about the going to the 8th year is being on board. He was once a player, then he became the coach of the Senegalese team. This team came second 2 years, 3 years ago, 2019. You know that that philosophy, he eventually ingrained it into the team and it worked out well for them this time. You know, if they've sent the man packing 2 years ago, a new coach will come with a new philosophy. That means they are starting all over. So, staying power is great. It doesn't mean you have to settle down for anything in life, but whatever you have chosen to do, you don't expect to achieve success overnight. Maybe one or two people may do that, but they are in the minority. Majority, of course, it is the cost of staying there. You even build experience. Whatever anybody is counting on today, they are celebrating you. They are saying, oh, you can do this thing very well. It's because you've been seated on years of experience. If you keep uprooting yourself here like a farmer, you plant here, after 3 days, it didn't germinate, you excavate it, go to another place. Eventually, you kill that seed and the viability will be lost. So you have to learn to stay there in sunshine, during rain. In fact, that is even where winners are known. Ability to stay through. And of course, while staying there, you are not loafing, you are improving. You are adding value to yourself. You are adding knowledge to knowledge, virtue to virtue. And of course, you are taking on new things that will make you a better person while you are staying on that job. I just told somebody, was he about 3-4 days ago, stop jumping from one job to job, because if you do this 3 years, another 1 2 years, you have a disjointed work experience. Even though you might have put in 10-15 years, by the time they look at all the places you have worked, the years of experience does not align. So you won't be able to even take up a better job. Stay in one place and follow it through. I think it's good. People change their philosophy, learn to stay through, endure whatever will come. You know, they say now the bigger your head, the stronger your neck must be. So if you really want to go somewhere in life and be an achiever, you must learn to bear the heat. Thank you. Hello, Rotimi.
I can hear you. That's also interesting. So on that note, I think we just need to call it a day.
Okay.
Let's just have your parting shot and then we'll call it a day.
What do I want to say as my parting shot now? Since we are dealing with the issue of a mental and physical wellness, well, I will want to encourage everybody out there to take care of their mental wellness. I know a lot of people take care of their physical wellness because once you are sick, you go to hospital. But you know, many people are sick in their mind and they are not doing anything about it. And they become like a keg of gunpowder waiting to explode. And I tell people, if you have unsound mind, if your emotional intelligence is low, if your mind is under a siege, that person is like a disaster going somewhere to happen. Unfortunately, you will not be the only one to suffer. People around you will suffer. Your children may suffer. They will know that daddy has behavioral disorder or mommy has behavioral disorder. People working with you will suffer. Your neighbors will suffer. And not until somebody ends up in psychiatric hospital before you know that person is not okay. So little thing, pay attention. Your sorrow, your sadness, your thoughts, your behavior, your thinking pattern. Please take care of everything and make sure you're at your optimum level every time. And when your sound is okay, your mind is okay, I can tell you your body also will be okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. We'll have to just say our goodbyes. We'll be here tomorrow, God willing. Thank you all for joining.
Yes.
And please make sure that you keep mentally and physically fit. All right. So, want to go. It's always
a great morning on the Good
on the
Morning
Good Morning
Education Show.
Education Show. Bye.
Bye.